Hi, I'm Sandra Ton, and I am the facilitator for the Memoir Writing for Seniors program at the Powell River Library. Today I'm reading a slice of life from the book actually titled Slices that was published in 2013 through the library. And the author of the story I'm reading today is actually also the artist who donated the art for the cover, Rita Rasmussen. So Rita was born in Powell River, close to where her Danish and Finnish grandparents settled in the early 1900s. She is an internationally celebrated multimedia artist. She's also an environmental and social justice activist, and is also known for her very adventurous nature, her wit, her intelligence, her creativity. Through her memoir writing, she explores stories evoked through personal and collective memory and the richness of landscape photographs and mementos. And for the story I'm reading today, she actually goes back in time. It's a very creative memoir. And the title is Made of Wood, Charged with Electricity by Rita Rasmussen. Years ago, I found some ancient, faded photographs in a pale, water-stained album that had been in my parents' basement for many years. The bindings had become unglued, and the photos had slipped from their places on the page. When I handled them, they smelled like ancient paper, dust and mildew, cigars and silverfish. Most of the photographs were from the late 1800s and early 1900s. Some had been taken in Copenhagen with Danish writing on them, and some were set in Winnipeg, Canada, still with Danish writing on them. A number of them were completely faded, like old dreams, with notations written long ago in pencil, smudged and partially erased. The album had belonged to a great-uncle, a stepbrother to my Danish grandmother. His name was Jens. In the early 1900s, when he first arrived in Canada as an immigrant, he thought himself a modern man. He was fascinated by the new inventions pertaining to electricity and the transmission of sound. He closely followed the works of Edison and Bell. He had a radio. Jens liked to explore the integral parts of electrical devices and machines. He liked things to be functional. He was adept at transforming electrical energy into mechanical motion, and he quickly gained work in the new country, setting out routes for electric streetcars and avoiding electrocution. In 1908, Jens was accused of being a witch by one of his neighbors who had recently emigrated from Italy. The police were called because of great-uncle Jens' suspicious activities. In the attic of his rented house, he had a box that had voices emanating from it. The police reassured the neighbors, although the officers were a little dubious of the origins of the voices themselves. Jens's neighbors never got over it, though. The whole family would quickly walk across to the other side of the street, crossing themselves repeatedly whenever Jens came into sight. Jens soon had a wife from Denmark, a young daughter, and a new house in a different part of town. He found a dog for his daughter and a fast bay horse for himself. He wore a uniform, and he was looking good. In Winnipeg, the land is prairie flat. After a few years, it seemed to Jens that everything around him had started to exist as flat lines. His life became flat in the present, but appeared to be somewhat electric if he thought about the future. Then the electric trams got stuck in their tracks. The timing and schedules started to become undone. His gold watch, chained to his side, didn't keep time anymore. Suddenly, Jens left Winnipeg. He left his wife and daughter in the house. The dog ran after him and never came back. Neither did Jens. Since he was headed west, he changed his name to Mr. West. He took the train, of course, and felt like an immigrant again. He got off the train in the Rockies just west of Lake Louise. The only things he carried were his phonograph, a few cylinder records, his clothes, a broken watch, and a sharp knife. He loved the mountains. One day, when he was hiking, he found a wooden heart growing out of the side of a spruce tree. He carefully cut the heart off and carried it home with him to his little shack near the town of Banff. He sanded and polished the heart and left it sitting on his kitchen table. Later, he carried the wooden heart and his few possessions out to the west coast. He had decided to visit his stepsister, my grandmother, who had homesteaded near Lund, a small immigrant Scandinavian town, with her husband and family. Mr. West decided to stay on the coast, close to the ocean. He kept that wooden heart with him until the day he died. Along with the photo album, it ended up in my parents' basement, stuck in the floor joists of the room above. He never returned to the East or his prairie family. It was like his heart, too, had become a piece of wood, and electricity never charged it again. That's from Rita Rasmussen. Thank you very much.